This will probably be the last Reinhardt VOD we do for a very long time, but let's take a look at it. This is a pretty interesting VOD that we actually got submitted to us. So this one has a face cam and stream of consciousness. The commentary on this one says, I might have gotten a little salty. I'd also love to join Discord. Shane said that he'd be more than happy to help, but I know you've already had him on recently. So, Dink Dunk, are you around? Dink Dunk is around. Hop into Discord. Hello, Mr. Dink Dunk.
Oh.
How are you?
Hello. Cool.
Good. Surprise, we're doing your VOD.
Yeah,
this,
I actually thought, because you did like 2 Reinhardts earlier, and I was like, oh, he's probably like took me off the list. That's fine.
Well, you know, if your VOD little got put in purple, so my Pavels, who does the quality assurance for the VODs to make sure they've got like good quality, good bit rate, no background music and all that, he marked yours in purple, and it says that you did a stream of consciousness on your own recording. So tell me a little bit about this. What's the deal with this stream of consciousness note on the VOD that you've submitted here?
So I guess mostly what I do is like when I'm streaming, especially when I'm tilting the way that I did in this VOD, I find it. So I try and work through what I'm doing. When the game feels like it's already lost, I try and work out why I'm losing it more than any other game. Some games I feel like are unwinnable, but other ones you can still divulge information and why you're losing or what you're doing wrong from these games.
Absolutely. So in this, you're endorsement level 4 already? Holy shit.
Yeah, boy. It only took like 8 hours a day for the last 2 weeks, but
So so you're 4-star right now. You're not even silver border. So this kind of like recent uptick in playtime is a recent occurrence. Have you just started to take Overwatch more seriously?
Yeah, so I did season 1 to 8, and all that time I pretty much I kind of messed around. And season 9, season 10, season 11, I started streaming like 4 months ago. So I was like, I'm actually going to take this seriously.
And
so
you are one handsome man too, Chad. I'm not sure if you're ready for exactly how handsome this man is, but give me a second. Okay, so chat, you ready? Look at how handsome that man is.
Oh, Jesus.
Whew. Whew. Sweating.
Now you just need to tick on my chin and the circle will be complete.
Sorry, I got to move myself down so we look like we're doing a talk show. Look at us. Look at us. We're just 2 peas in a pod. We're just 2 peas in a pod. So
is the quality of your camera like indignant of your playing game as well?
Yes, absolutely. But I need to. I have hair envy right now. I was just about to try and slick my hair up, but then I forgot that I shaved it off, and I don't have any hair anymore.
That's fine. We can paint some on.
Oh, we can paint some on. Great idea. Absolutely fantastic idea. Let's get Epic Pen open. Okay. So we'll just have black hair. And we got to be... Oh, no, that's not going to work. That's not going to be... we're just going to be an anime character. Perfect. Got blue flames coming on my head. I'm Hades, man. Perfect. My hair is now higher than yours.
Wait. Oh, people are... I was wondering why I was getting all these notifications, and people are following me.
People are following you. Oh, that's funny. But yeah, so you just recently started streaming. You just recently started taking Overwatch more seriously, and with that, playing more. So what season did you start taking Overwatch more seriously? Where did you start your climb? Where are you at? Do you feel stuck, or do you feel you're kind of still on the way up? Just tell me a bit more about yourself.
So I'm going to quickly open Overwatch so I can actually look at my profile, because I was actually doing work. Because I do game dev from home, so...
Who works? Just stream.
I know, right? Yeah, so I started, so up to... I've never actually finished a season in Silver, but I was a Silver player up until, like, Season 9.
Okay.
Where I finished, like, very low gold. So season 10 is realistically where I start to take it seriously, and then obviously season 11 is now.
And where in plat are you right now? 26, 29?
I am now currently in this season 2794, but I've been as high as 2961.
So you've
just,
basically
just about
done
got to 10.
1,000 SR in just under 2 seasons.
Yeah.
That's very impressive climb. That's a very impressive climb. Do you feel hard stuck in platinum, or do you feel like the climb is still in progress?
Hell no. I think so. Most of my issues are like knowing when to stop playing, because I've even like I use overtrack or whatever it's called to see my SR, and there are like literally when I'm losing SR, I keep playing and keep losing SR. And pro tip, don't do that. Just lose 2 games in a row, swap a server.
I have
or
never done
just
that
like
personally.
Stop, do that.
I have never gone on long sessions where I have lost shit tons of SR. It has also never happened on stream. So,
Oh
yeah.
well, but yeah, I climbed. So I lost a bunch of SR, got really tilted, and then from like 2 days ago or something, I was sitting at like 20, 2594, and I've climbed all the way back up.
Well, good on you. So, what are the primary things that you're working on right now on your Reinhardt play?
Mostly, I try and shot call a lot of what I do, and
Excellent.
call targets mostly because a lot of what I found in gold, pretty much shot calling carried me out of gold on its own. Like just being able to say, I'm hitting this person, please hit him with me. That generally seems to work, and I really enjoy getting a bit of team comp going with that.
Okay. So you enjoy the team comp. So tell me about the team comp you have right now.
So we have Reaper, Hanzos, or actually starts tanks. So our combo with Roadhog, Reinhardt here, that's a Roadhog main. I wasn't going to ask him to switch. I think I did check it just after this, but generally I don't ask people to switch off what they're comfortable picking, at least this low down. I might do that later, but there's not too much combo with this. It's kind of like Reinhardt Diva. There's not too much to go on here. Helos, we have Mercy and Ana. Ana for long range. On Blizzard, first point. On defending, I'd say Ana's alright. Mercy's okay as well. But we could probably do with a Zen if they're going to run a Zarya or anything. And damage-wise, Hanzo is probably a must pick. I think this was in season 11 actually. And then Reaper is alright if you're really good at him, I guess.
So you're viewing these kind of all as like what they are individually good at, and you talked about like there's no combos or whatnot in terms of like ultimate combos, yeah. But how do they work together outside of ultimates? In just in the first team fight where ultimates are not a factor for either team, how do these characters work together, and how are you going to, as the main tank, make their play even more impactful?
I would be, I guess, so in this comp, I'd be looking for Hanzo to be helping the shield break with the Roadhog to make sure that they can. I think even in this video I say, I think they do run a Reinhardt here, and he can come right up to me. So most of the time I'm just saying, make sure and break that shield, because if they can't get to us with resource, then we're going to win out on that resource war.
That's absolutely correct. So especially on the defense here, you've got, the Reaper is, I would expect that the Reaper is going to act like a flanker, and he can, flank tanks, hand around corners, he can flank supports, he can do whatever the fuck he wants, but he's not as valuable in terms of shield break because his fall off is so severe that he can't really assist shield break at long ranges, at least not compared to Roadhog and Hanzo's damage break. But you do have, a very large amount of damage break here, and then after the shield is down, or if the Reinhardt is dropping his shield for any other reason, your Ana's sleep darts and biotic nades can really fuck up the team. But you don't have much utility here to help you be aggressive other than just raw healing. But the Mercy is probably going to be pocketing a DPS, and then who knows if the Ana's healing is going to be consistent, or they're going to be more of a DPS Ana. So one of the things that I'd be trying to do is just allow my my Hog and my Hanzo, if he wants to actually play with me, to be as safe as possible and shell out long range damage. So yeah, if they are playing a Reinhardt, instead of trying to be aggressive on the Reinhardt, play a little bit safer and just allow them their resources to be burnt down faster than yours are. So let's see how things go.
A little side note here: Benny and Jenny is cool. Were on my team the previous game, flaming me, and I was already salty coming into this match, which didn't help.
Fair enough.
Benny is a Mercy main, and Jenny plays tank in this game.
Okay.
Orders most of the time. Why are we playing a Hog? Okay. Got 2 main healers. I should have plenty of healing this time.
Great thoughts so far.
Kind of telling how you acted here.
Well, so I won't be able to hear what I'm saying. I'm just watching.
That's fine.
Oh, going to the left side again? Yeah, man. I know. Before I even see that clip, I know what I was doing. So just fucking.
Can I ask a question here before we even start?
Absolutely.
On Reinhardt VOD that I watch you do on Blizzard World. So another thing is Blizzard World is probably my most hated map. I can't seem to win it.
Well, it's one of the difficulties with Blizzard World is it's got kind of 2 approaches to the point, whereas Reinhardt, there's 2 options. Whereas Reinhardt is best at tanking from a single option. So if you aren't able to kind of manage the 2 different possible routes of attack, then it can be a challenge on Reinhardt, absolutely.
Yeah, so the main thing that I think about, and I talked about there slightly, is which side of the point to hold. And generally, so I remember in that VOD review you said, hold the left side, the little choke, because then it forces them to come into you and fight as Reinhardt. Whereas when I was talking, I watched Tryhard, who is a top 500 tank, and I watched Jayne as well.
Yep.
And both of them said 90% of the time they hold the right side, and the only time they go to the left is if the enemy team goes there to.
Yeah, you start on the left
stop
side.
Them going there.
You absolutely start on the left side, but then that gives you the time, because it's a shorter distance from your left side to the point's right side. If the opponent goes to the right, you can transition over there in order to block that from the front, as well as you can do that if you want to be in the close range. Something going on with Tryhard 7s in chat? What did I miss? Oh, right, you said Tryhard.
Tryhard enmity, no.
Yeah, the tank player. But this also happens if you're holding on Griffin, for example. You drop, you hold left, you fall back to the left, and then if you see the opponent going to the right, you can transition to the right faster than the opponent can get there in the first place, because you're also going to be able to see their intentions. Would you actually want to be doing that in this circumstance? If the opponent's running something like a Brigitte, or if their Reinhardt has a Zarya or something like that, you don't want to be doing that, because that would be putting them at the advantage. So if you are playing this kind of heavier shield break, then you can go there, but you'd want to constantly be kiting back away from them, especially if they tried to push into you.
Okay.
Like, what the fuck?
But yeah, the things that the GMs do are kind of based off of playing against GMs.
Yeah.
And that's also going to be what's happening in competitive. But the reasons that play style occurs do not always exist in the lower ranks.
Go to the left side, guys, because going to the right means that we're getting cornered into a fucking thing, and Hans is already there. Oh no, the ghost.
This is actually really convenient.
Can we help me with the Orisa? Nice.
It's actually really convenient here that they teleported an Orisa right into your hammer range, because one of the things that Reinhardt has a big advantage against Orisa in close quarters. So that was very kind of them to just gift you the advantage, but...
Zen?
Yeah.
Nice. Nice, get back over here.
And this is the exact sort of thing. Would you ever see this positioning in GM? No. But you're positioned correctly here because your team is here. So it's the same rule, right? If you were here alone, it would be a mistake. But you're here with your team, so it's a strategy. It's a tactic.
Yep.
So
We're gonna respawn. You should have gone with the team. Yeah, I know, going with the dumb plan. I know, I say that all the time. but in that instance, I was not doing that. They're gonna TP up here, or are they? Nope, because they did. Good job.
And your Reaper and your Roadhog are actually in front of you. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I feel like you're here because your team is here, but your Reaper and your Roadhog are actually frontlining over your shield. So
in that situation, should I? Because I figure eventually pushing up with how aggressive they are, from what I see normally, is if they push up, there's no real point in me pushing up. Like, okay, if we're like taking the fight to them, but usually when it's like defending and they're overextended in front of the team, like I can make them not overextend by going in front of them. Then it just leads to me dying, and it's.
what about
it's
that
not a good
leads to you
trade.
dying?
Usually trying to protect whoever's there. So right at the beginning of this VOD, I actually protect the Mercy because she's in front of me whilst they teleport on top of her.
Yeah.
And usually either that leads to me getting descended on myself, trying to help a teammate.
Yeah, but in this picture, for example, Roadhog's on the left, Reinhardt's on the right. What value are you actually serving? Who are you shielding from the damage? No one, right? So I'm not sure why holding forward. You don't have to be holding in the middle of the territory. You can hold one of these pillars or the other side of the gate themselves. But if your team is holding up there and you can't convince them that it's a bad idea through comms or whatnot, then the best strategy is to play with them and whatever kind of enable their ideas, however idiotic they might be.
In that instance, I was not doing that. They're gonna TP up here,
Or protect.
or are they? Nope, because they did. Good job. Careful, I'm coming up our right side here.
I sonicked it. I don't see anyone.
I don't think they would just
Wait for them
spawn
to
yet.
come. You can't really do much from here. Wait
Yeah,
for
I'll
them to come
keep an
in.
eye on the right side. I think they are going.
Should
in
I be
again
the
with
one checking the
Ursa.
flanks like
I might
this?
slam here.
Sorry, say again?
Should I be the one checking the flanks?
In this
like I
elo,
was just doing
probably.
there?
If you were on an actual team, no, it would likely
Yeah.
be someone else. But the fact that you're doing it and you're aware and watching that flank is very good. So in ranked, yeah, that's fine, and
Cool.
probably a pretty big benefit that you even care about flanks. So yeah,
Can you follow up if I slam? Ready?
I wouldn't have charged immediately. You had the Zarya knocked,
Nice, you.
Nice job, guys.
so do you know the kind of like standard follow up to a hammer?
Crouch, fire strike, and then swing and try and get at least 25 of your shatter back.
So you swing before you crouch fire strike if they're in range already. If they're not in range, you fire strike while walking up to them and get the swing and then charge. And you had knocked the Zarya here, so if like my immediate thoughts after you landed the hammer is you could have fire strike the Rhine, swung on or fire strike the Zenyatta while you were walking up to her, swung, turned around and charged the Zarya as she was standing back up, because you always want to be pinning a tank as people are standing back up, so the pin damage goes to your next ultimate. But yeah, slamming and immediately charging,
Right.
you'll pin one target. But the other thing is that even if you stun 5, if you just charge and slam, the rest of your team won't be able to actually follow up on the otherwise perfectly stunned targets because they're going to be pinballed all across the fucking map. So
Yeah, got it.
so slamming and charging is very poor discipline and will make the follow-up way more difficult, and you won't kill as many people, and you won't have as much ult charge to your next hammer.
Nice clear. I got my ult.
Back to positions, boys.
Don't overextend too much, Roadhog. We can't really
They
do
should be
much
going
until
up to
they
the
come
high
in
ground, I
a bit.
think. Because you can.
Oh, they got a
no
fair. I
point.
need to hit scan.
Can
Draw
someone
point, draw
back
point.
point?
Back capping.
I'm gonna stay at the
I'm just
front.
too far back here.
Yes, come through. Let me smack you. What are you doing, Sim?
shit,
I wasn't
shit,
trying to-
That is a great question.
Sombra.
That is a
Yeah.
great question.
You should be. I'm not turning back yet.
Flat is a strange and wonderful place, right? If you don't have to do anything, don't do anything.
Some Metris, some Tentra. Dude, I don't know. I'm 2 beers in.
2 beers in. I like it.
Careful, careful. Zen's looking at this angle.
I think
Wait,
that
your
Symmetra was
Reaper
more than me
died.
in.
Your Reaper died where?
Shit, I'm hard.
It's the Sombra.
Yeah. You should be. I'm not.
Like, there's overextending.
And there's being.
And then there's solo spawn camping.
turning back yet.
What the fuck is he doing?
Symmetris.
I think he's. Is there a health kit down there? I can't even remember. I hardly ever go down there.
I don't think I've been there either. I don't think I even know what exists in that area of the map. He's like under the stairs.
Yeah,
Dude,
he is.
I don't know. I'm 2 beers in.
I don't know.
He traded for the Mercy, though, I guess.
Careful, careful. Zen's
Worth?
looking at this
I didn't type in chat, so it's not worth.
He's at that mega on the side.
I'm backing off here.
I got sandwiched,
Shields
but I
up
at
now.
least got the first.
EMP.
This fucking... Really? You can...
Killers are down.
That's the fucking Mercy from last
turrets.
game.
Damn, those fucking.
I know I'm very dead here.
Yep. It's
This
fine
point.
Don't wait till
So one of the things that I'm wondering about, like, why are you kind of like afraid of the Sombra or any of these other targets? Like, it seems like you're trying to kite them away, and you're keeping them just barely out of your hammer range. Why is this?
Metro goes out.
I think, especially after the Sombra, I'm not quite sure why. Because I got hacked and I was like, I don't have a shield. I'm worthless here. But the
Yeah, but the Sombra themselves,
after that,
like you
both our
have,
healers died.
yeah, but the Sombra is hacked. It's not like you're going to be feeding her ult charge while the effects of EMP are active, and you're either going to force her to translocate or die just walking up to her and swinging her. You're putting a lot of pressure on them, preventing them from being on the point as well. And if you're, I'm not sure the exact timing of your healers dying or not, but if you do grab people's attention, it takes it off of the healers, and then they can just do their job to keep you alive while you swing on things. But especially, and then there's the other thing about like fighting off the point is you're going to give you an absolute shit spawn and just let them cap the point. Like if you are alive, stay there, be more aggressive, and if you die, you're just going to have more charge to your next ultimate faster. So I think like it's kind of weird how you were kind of like, you weren't really retreating, but you weren't really fighting either. You're like a weird pacifist Reinhardt, where just going aggressive on people while you have the health pool. Because if you're like trying to hide behind that pillar like you were and like trying to, you know, jiggle peek the Sombra or something like that, she's still going to slowly chip you down. Like if you're going to be taking damage, you may as well getting value out of that. You know, your shield itself is not to stop damage. You know, your shield and your health pool are resources that you used in order to gain positioning. And that positioning can be closing the distance to an enemy in order to bash them with your massive fuck-off hammer. So I'd like to see just more aggression. Like three swings or 2 swings and a fire strike will kill a squishy. And that can happen way quicker. And if you're in range, they need to bug out really quickly or they're going to die. You know, Zaryas themselves, especially if the Zarya is not at a high energy, can't really do much except just get fucking beaten around until they die. So yeah, be more aggressive, especially with double primary healer.
Okay.
Behind us.
Someone behind you.
You could slam that.
Got her.
Fuck, teleport through that. We're slamming here.
Don't.
Lol. Huge.
Assault combo.
So you have a really bad hammer with your hammer swings, or your earth shatters. So you did it the second time here again that you shattered and you immediately charged. The follow up to hammer does not involve charge until it's a tank. Until like a tank is one of the last things left as the stuns are wearing off.
Okay.
Just walk up and beat them to death.
Metro's almost dead.
They're at the mega.
Sombra.
Josh,
Nice little kill.
I got 75% now.
Is she? Is that
Hanzo
fucking
back up a little bit.
Benny from last game typing in chat? Nice combo. Yeah, because I've got a
You
decent
got
team
soldier
here.
now.
They don't have a Hanzo, do they? No. Okay, long distance. I'm gonna die here.
Oh, the video is glitching a little bit.
Very close to dying. Shit.
Oh.
So there's also these little things that are happening where kind of like you're holding a little bit far away from corners. And actually gonna jump into Overwatch for this quickly. But you're also holding like quite a distance away from corners and things like that. Whereas if we're on, I'm not sure what is a good map to kind of demonstrate anything, especially with thin walls. Maybe like Hanamur is not really that great either. We can just use Blizzard World, I guess. Yeah, King's Row. Let's do King's Row. That's even better. Maps, none. King's Row. Where are you? King's Row. Okay, so for, like, Reinhardt's especially, you can, like, your hammer hitbox is in the shape of a rectangle. And if you're swinging or around a corner, you can prevent people from standing near to it, as well as it helps you look around the corner and get more scouting information with your right click. So if we're looking at this wall right here, if I'm standing here and I try to remove my shield, I can't really see around the corner. Whereas if I'm standing near to this corner and I right click like this, I can see around the corner and get more advantage. So it's actually better on Reinhardt to stand right up next to a corner. So on Blizzard World, where you're kind of like standing away from the corner, not only standing closer to the corner prevents anybody else from like standing close to it, because your hammer hitbox will still kind of extend around the corner. Even if you're aiming at this, right? This area is still going to get hit by the hammer. So you do this to make sure that nobody else can approach this corner without getting injured, as well as either right-clicking or just kind of like looking around it while you're swinging will give you more information on what the opponent is doing and how they're actually attacking you. So, yeah, if you are going to be holding locations like this, don't do this because you're not going to actually pressure that corner. You can't see anything around the corner with your right-click. And it's just going to be, it's just a worse position in general. Simple tangent. Very simple one.
Okay. Closer to corners.
Yes, closer to corners, indeed.
Okay, long distance. I'm gonna die here. Very close to dying. Shit.
The Fire Strike cancel is just where you cancel one of your swings with a Fire Strike.
Ah, damn, those fucking turrets.
Yeah, I'm coming back. Hold on. Have we still got people behind me? Try and get your back back.
I did not mean to ult there, sorry.
Yeah, I didn't mean to.
They're just backing out.
They have McCree now.
I'm just coming back. Careful, Anna. Get out, get out, get out. Nice.
It's pretty dangerous to chase like that.
Yeah, I think mostly what happened there was the old, I'm mana boosted, I need value.
Yeah, no, that's a common misconception, especially like Genjis, for example. People who play Genji or people who play Soldier, and they receive a nano boost from the Ana. They're like, oh, I just got nano boosted. I gotta do my grandma proud, and they immediately press Q. Like they just shut their brain off and they just Q.
Time to play the game.
They're like, yo, the Ana trusted me. I've gotta do her right. And then yeah, same thing. You get nano boosted on your Reinhardt, and you're suddenly like, oh shit, I gotta go do things, and you're like charging forward and swinging like a fucking madman and shit like that. And higher ranked Anas sometimes will nano boost Reinhardts in order to just keep them alive. Not for the extra damage, just for the damage mitigation. But if a Reinhardt misinterprets the nano boost as kind of like, get in there, the Reinhardt's be like, I'm at 100 health, but I'm fucking blue and shiny. Come here, red people. The Reinhardt's still gonna die. So just because nano boost comes out onto you doesn't mean you can just shut your brain off and be like, Anna told me to kill people. I'm gonna go kill people. So not only is chasing that, like the chance of that actually resulting in a kill, pretty fucking tiny. And you not existing anywhere near the payload exposes your team and forces them to fall back and use natural cover instead of holding farther up and maintaining map control around the actual payload itself.
Yep, because it forced Anna to come up with me as well. She almost died in that. Holy shit, man! Went in as well.
Yep.
Like, get behind my shield if we need it. We need to pick off some of their squishies here.
If you are fighting a Symmetra or something like that, it's better to just not be in her range at all. Because whether you're shield up or shield down, it doesn't matter. Her beam is ramping up. So stay the fuck away from her unless you can actually just make her go away or die. So
Yeah.
you don't want to be holding. If they place that shield down, they gain a shit ton of map control all around that shield, about 5-10 meters on either side of it, because the Symmetra can just sit on one side of it and beam you down from the other side. So it's very challenging to deal with her when she does have her big shield down.
They have a really weird setup. They don't have a main tank, so
Zarya is heavy charge. Stay away from Zarya.
And them not having a main tank can actually be more challenging
She's
than when they
way
do
higher
have a main
focused
tank, because
to
it'll give them
if she
more
dies, then
damage
that's
or
an
more
advantage
flank.
on
And if
down
they don't
tank.
have any kind of like frontline tanks or something like that, or if they don't have any sort of Reinhardt likes shielding threats from a singular angle. But if they have like a Pharah and two flankers, then you're shielding like a Zarya. But the vast majority of the threats are not being shielded by you. So when this happens, you become much less of a protector and much more of a DPS. So you just find the squishy or find the flanker and just bash them to death with your hammer, get your ultimate, and then slam people to win the fights. So when you are into this situation, you become much less of a protector, much less of like winning the front line, and more you have to be able to actually deathmatch as Rein in this sort of situation. A big bully, because flankers and other squishies can't get within the area of your hammer. They can't do it, or else they're taking so much damage and getting knocked around.
yeah.
Treat a bit. Let let's regroup.
Triple DPS is something
I
I
can touch
always struggle against when I'm playing Ryan.
A team
And it's for that
with-
exact reason.
There's a question in chat. I thought team with a main tank always beats a team without one. No, not necessarily. And if we think about that, like for example, like Reinhardts themselves are pretty good at blocking damage, but if the opponent is running like 5 DPS in a Zenyatta and they're playing from range, no tank in the game can stay alive against like 5 DPS in a Zenyatta. So if you don't have the ability to actually engage on an opponent when they are playing a really high number of DPS, or they're playing split or something like that, then you're actually completely worthless, because you're not going to be tanking for any duration of time. And then unless the opponent is using the little time that you do provide them while your shield is up and you can actually hold in a location, then they're simply going to have more DPS after they've taken care of you. So especially when they have like higher numbers of DPS, if you can do like the more divide and conquer style on Winston, it's vastly superior. But main tank versus no main tank actually can be abused on ladder much more than it will be abused ever in competitive. But in ladder, don't ever assume that just having a main tank will give you an advantage over a team without it, because if the opponent, especially against a Reinhardt, if they have just an overwhelming amount of DPS, or your team isn't getting value during this small window that you do provide to them with your shield, or they're attacking from so many angles that you can't actually effectively protect your team or go like DPS hammerman, then you will basically just become a burden to your team.
You're gonna have to give me some assistance. I can't fucking do that on my own. I thought Anna was behind me. Oh, you died.
And here you were just kind of like in stagger phase and didn't get a
Yeah.
recontest.
If anything, I should have just charged in there if I was gonna die anyway. And
Back
might as
up and
well
regroup.
died on the payload.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank fuck.
Or recognize that you weren't going to win and just kind of like back
She's
off
only
to
healing
third.
their fucking Zarya, so.
What do you do? Switch? Usually, yeah. A Winston is much better against high numbers of DPS than a Reinhardt is.
Just play a bit safe. They don't have a shield, so as soon as the bubbles go down, I'm gonna slam again.
And are you going to charge immediately afterwards?
Somber behind. Somber
no.
behind.
Yep, I can't deal with it.
Nice. That should be a free slam, shouldn't it?
We need to hold this. We need our tanks up on the front line.
I can't do anything here. I'm getting raped on the I think I can't get out of the room because of the body blocks.
You got the healer?
I didn't from above. Shielded.
You don't even really need slam there, right? Because you'd already killed 2.
Yeah.
So, like, this is one of the reasons why I talk about one of the main factors for a platinum player being able to climb is efficient, not only using their ultimates when they need to be ultimate, but how they're using their ultimates. And we've seen those two things, like the very classic stereotypical platinum errors are how you use your ultimate and when you use your ultimate. So you're using it wrong, not in that like the situation in which you used your ultimate is wrong, but your follow-up to the ultimate is wrong. And then when you're using it is also incorrect because the opponent burnt trance and they still lost 2, which means that you got an incredible amount of value. They used trance and lost. But then you're like, I'm sorry that you used so many resources to lose this fight. Let me just make it a little bit easier. And then you toss Nano Boost and Hammer onto an already won fight. So recognize, like, you want to use ults to gain an advantage, and then clean up without ultimates, start getting your charge or your ultimates charged for the next fight. But if you get the if you get the first 2 kills without ultimates and then use ultimates to clean up, then you're going to have no ultimates to start the next fight. So your economy is terrible. Yeah. But so keep track of how the fight is going, and if the fight is won, call it and don't use any more ultimates.
One up top.
Got it.
Eating it up.
Just the McCree up top right. Nice. Ooh. They have nothing to stop my slams, so I just need to farm them real quick.
But it's about sending a message.
And make sure I don't get hacked. She's looking for grab. I need heals.
Nice read on the telegraph.
Okay, it's just me. It's just me. I'm gonna die. It's fine. I was hoping my Reaper would get away from me there, but
It was still a very nice read on that telegraph, and you were the only one who caught in it, so.
try.
And they res the Ana instead of
Guys,
you.
Get back a little bit until we got another.
We got Zarya, so
Unfortunate.
we got Zarya.
How did the Ana die there? I didn't even see
She
that.
lost all the charge.
Zen is slept. Zen is slept.
Don't let up. It's almost over.
What telegraph? The Zarya was acting like she had Graviton. She
Yeah.
gave away that she had it. And was looking for it.
One of the easiest things to recognize
They're
is
all
if
right,
Zarya is running at you as
Yeah,
Reinhardt
if-
with no main tank, she's got grab.
If Zarya at high energy is running forward while reloading, she's got grab.
Yeah, it's like
On the
it's
other
literally
hand,
charging forward with like your Scottish face paint on, going, "I've got this, guys, watch me."
Yeah, one of the things that I used to do on Zarya to fuck with higher level divas, for example, is I would do that on purpose. I would run forward in front of my Reinhardt while reloading, and then just like back off, and then I'd just see the diva like defense matrix me, and the Genji would be like, and just like pretending like I had grab and was about to use it, got cooldowns out of the opponent for free. So there's actually circumstances where you can like fake people out by telegraphing that you have the ult and are going to use it, but don't actually use it, because you can force the opponent to play in certain ways if they think that you have your ult and are going to use it. So.
I got the DPS.
Holy fuck! I got hacked. No, I need heals. Ah!
So this
Why
is basically
healing that's so bad this 2 game.
well. This is one of the things is that a couple things here. Like they're probably not healing you because they're probably being attacked by something. So awareness
and
about
I'm at the wrong side of the shield.
yes, that too, because you're also playing with an Ana. But this sort of situation, since there is so much chaos going on here, you do have to play with more natural cover if possible. You don't have to DM and I don't mean defense match, I mean deathmatch people in the open here. As Reinhardt, you still want to be using cover, so you're kind of shifting towards more of like the damage and elimination focus of Reinhardt here. But you'd still want to be doing so in areas with cover and where your team can assist you, because they still have to come to you. And if they're longer range, which you can't fight, don't fight them in the open, and don't fight them in areas where they can kite you. Like they have the objective that they have to get to. So play near it, play near cover, and if they try and get close, then just go beat them to death.
Games.
Yeah, like just look how in the open you are.
Nice to slam.
If you get EMP'd on Reinhardt, you should be able to just be like, oh, the corner that I was conveniently standing behind or standing beside the entire time.
Well, no, because Sim uses her walls in between my slams. Oh, don't let him get this. One cart.
I'm coming back with Nano.
Please heal me.
You ran it down to 0.
Holy fuck! Oh my god, that
Main
red.
tank can feel very
Can we
punishing.
kill Zarya? She's literally the only thing killing us right now.
Just add
That was
insult
like-
to injury. Solo slam the Zarya. I like it.
We were in overtime. I was like,
I didn't need to slam
I'm not
that.
saving my ult for next game.
Zarya.
Yeah, instead of being like a little bit more passive aggressive, if you are going to be doing shot calls, things like Zarya, no personal, way more impactful than, hey guys, can we actually kill the Zarya? She's doing she's the one doing everything. Like, yeah, cool, maybe she is. Doesn't actually matter. You can just call Zarya no personal and just beat the shit out of her. It's more concise and gets the point and isn't passive aggressive. Are there any specific questions that you had on Reinhardt?
I guess how to feel like, so a lot of the time, especially lower down, a lot of other main tanks will probably feel this, where it feels like it's really easy for, it's like your old, oh, the healers are doing nothing. But it's like you've got to recognize when games are unwinnable, fair enough, but sometimes it feels like you're almost there, but your team isn't like,
so
I don't know, coordinated
healing is
enough,
like heroin. Have you ever heard me say that before?
I have not actually.
So healing is like heroin in the fact that the more you have, the more you want, and the more you feel you need. And the best tank players can play with absolutely minimal healing.
Yeah.
And the original dive composition, right, was run with Lucio and Zenyatta. But the tanks were Winston Diva. So when I ask people, how was there enough healing to keep a Winston and a Diva alive during a team fight? You know, they probably say, you know, Harmony plus damage boost, amped healing, you know, that's a pretty decent, you know, amount of healing and whatnot. But then when you think about it, the Lucio's job was to protect the Zenyatta. So during like the original full dive, basically the Winston and the Diva had to survive primarily on a Harmony orb between the two of them. And this is compared to how people are used to playing in Platinum on tanks is with like a Moira and a Mercy, because they're the two, you know, easiest and most common heroes. So tanks get used to these two very high-powered healers, and they're used to having like over 100 HPS focused on them. So when we get to the point where the healer does not immediately pocket them, or we are playing like one flex, one main, they're not used to that amount of healing, or if their supports get attacked by flankers and the supports get distracted, you know, suddenly without 100 health per second, the tanks are dying and they're immediately bitching at their healers. So there's two kind of things to this. First is awareness of how much healing you're actually going to be getting, and the second one is not needing that healing in the first place.
Yeah.
So you have to play with, you have to be used to and be able to play with minimal healing. Not no healing, but you know, you need to be able to manage your aggression. And one of the things that I noticed on your gameplay is that you position in the general area of a corner, but you don't really stick to corners, stick to walls. You don't have, you know, routes of retreat that aren't in the complete open. Anytime you're getting EMP'd or hacked, you're in the open. So you're not using cover properly. Yes, you're a tank, but tanks are best when they augment the natural cover or the map geometry itself. They're not meant to hold just completely blindly in the open. You use high ground, you use covers, like walls, corners, all of that. So it would be much more beneficial for you to learn without, you know, you're running Ana and Mercy here, and you're still wanting even more heals. But you're getting EMP'd, you're getting discorded, you're getting focused. So you're the one who's finding yourself in those situations in which you need those heals in the first place. And if you played differently, you wouldn't need those heals.
Yeah.
Maybe if you would play differently, your supports also wouldn't get pressured as hard, so that even if you didn't need those heals, you would have them available to you anyway. So, any other questions?
How would you generally practice that? I know ladder's a good one.
Corner, like I'm going to jump to a random point in the VOD, in the open, right? Why not?
Yeah.
Corner. Okay, let's jump to a different point in the video, in the VOD. Well, look, you died in the open. Where would be a good corner here?
Further back.
You could
away
be,
from that shield.
You could be here, or you could have been holding up there. Okay, let's jump to another random point in the VOD. So, still in no man's land.
Yeah, and practicing without healing as well.
Yeah.
Is that just a case of?
Oh, trust me, you'll
just working with it.
There will be some comp games where you operate with lots of healing, and then there will be no shortage of comp games in which you are not being supported as main tank. And those ones are the ones where you don't bitch at your healers. Those are the ones where you're like, how do I actually do this? Take it as a challenge. But yeah, here as well, they're attacking from the right side, and you're again in the open.
On the left. Yep. That's the fucking mercy from last.
And then you're over here. So your positioning is definitely going to impact how much damage you're taking, how much aggression you can handle, as well as how offensive you can be. Because if you take less chip damage and take less damage in general, if an opponent does confront you at a corner, you have the advantage. They're in your kill box already. You don't have to kind of like walk up to them. They don't have an opportunity to kite away from you.
Right.
So yeah, play to require less healing. Don't bitch at your healers for not putting out more healing. They have their own things they have to do. Any other questions?
Not currently, no.
Okay. Well, we've done a lot of Reinhardt VODs, so I'm going to keep this one as short as possible. But
No problem.
hope you found some things to work on. I think you did. Ultimate timing.
I have a
how
huge list
how
here
and
now.
when to use your ultimates. And then the use of cover. Please.
And follow up to my ults.
Like, you think it's ridiculous, but let's do a King's Row. Let's do a quick King's Row walkthrough. Okay, so on defense, right, there is a corner here. You can use it, but the problem is that you're going to be retreating from the corner into the same line of sight. So that's generally poor. One of the things is that if you're holding this corner, your retreat does not go directly back. It goes through a different line of sight. So holding here is a great location. This is a great corner. If you need to re-engage, this is an okay corner. It's not the greatest, but it's okay. The next corner on defense is bookstore. You hold here. The next corner is here. This one is a mediocre corner because, again, you're retreating into a very long shared line of sight. It's not bad, not great. This corner is pretty decent here. And then this one sucks. This corner sucks because it's, again, a shared sight line, and you pretty much have to back out to here. But if you do that, the rest of your team is exposed. So this corner is mediocre. Yeah. That one's good. That one's mediocre. And then moving into here, this corner is good. This corner is really good because it keeps Horseshoe under your control, which is a mega health pack. As well as if you hold here and lose here, it's going to make you staggered on the final attack. Whereas if you hold here and lose, the payload's only going to be about here when you have to recontest. So, okay, better. But yeah, so when you're a main tank player, you're basically selecting the nearest corner that you can hold. You're not holding the payload. You're not holding like relative to the payload. You're holding relative to the corner that's closest to the payload, in front of or behind or whatnot. So yeah, when you go into your next games, I want you to be basically every single time, just experiment. In the next couple of games, every single time you're in combat or setting up for a combat or attacking or anything, I want you to be within hammer swing of a corner.
Okay.
Just try it. Don't leave walls. Don't leave corners, because your shield might be fine here, but your shield is even better when it's augmenting natural cover. So, try that. Give that a shot and see how it works out for you.
I will do that tonight.
And let me know how it goes.
I will. I will.
Cool. Well, thanks for coming on, Dink. Did I lose you? Oh, there you are. Cheers. I'm going to keep on and do a different VOD review. Cheers, Dink. You have a good day.
Have a good day.